is everything. If you don't believe you can do something, then you can't. If you believe that your father was a bum and he left you, or your mother wasn't any good, if you believe that your upbringing was substandard and therefore you have to walk around as a refugee from that crisis situation for the rest of your life, forever bearing the burden of that experience, then that will be your life. It's like you have to save your own life. Nobody's gonna be able to save it for you.
Cardio and a warm-up, I think, are two different things. That's my own philosophical overview on that. Warm-ups are good because what they do is they allow a person a minute or an opportunity to check in with himself. You know, so this is a good place to start to find your own internal dialogue. Hey, how am I doing? Where am I at? What am I about to do? What is important to me? Why am I here? You know, this is a meditative thing. It really is. You know, what I'm trying to talk to you about today is being able to go inside of yourself, you know, encourage that dialogue, you know, checking in, finding out what's going on, bringing your tools online, you know. There's a lot of thought required in order to be in touch with your champion, you know, and you have great potential, but what will determine whether or not you'll be able to use that potential and see it, you know, fully realized will be how well or how important it is to you. And once you decide that it's very important to you, the tools that you will use in order to do that will be some of the things that I'm trying to share with you today. There's lessons to be learned from everything, every experience in your life, every experience, you know, every person can be a teacher. But all the great bodybuilders behind the scenes were incredible thinkers. They have to be. When you look at that body is the manifestation of a lot of work. Many hours and hours and hours of thought, you know, focused concentration towards that end. You know what I mean? Even the bodybuilder that identifies himself as a bodybuilder, that probably doesn't identify himself, at least to himself quietly, as being a very deep thinking person. The reality is, in order to do this thing well, chances are you would have to be a very thoughtful and insightful person. You know, whether or not you give yourself credit and acknowledge that or not is up to you. You know, but just because you don't acknowledge it, or it's harder for you to see it that way, doesn't mean that it isn't true. You know. to making the muscles that you want responsible for any movement that you do is by putting your mind there. You decide in your mind what you want to do. I am going to work my chest. I am doing these dips for the purposes of stimulating this kind of activity and therefore growth to occur in this area of my body. It's important to be clear about that because now that allows you to consciously and unconsciously set things up internally that will allow you to begin to make those muscles work more than any other muscle group that can work when doing exercise. From time to time, you'll have people that'll see you working in the gym too, and they may think, what's that? That looks different. That guy doesn't know what he's doing. Until you become a pro, and then it's like, hey, well, what was that you were doing? Without a certain kind of desperation, and it's true, people can argue whatever, okay, whatever, but, a real athlete knows what time it is, when the cameras are off and the lights are off and, they're alone by themselves, there's a certain kind of desperation that needs to be in order to be one with your passion as you need to be in order to overcome obstacles or barriers that would otherwise, stop you.